Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Shimi Hawashai, Shemakakwadash, and I want to say Shalom to Yakim Akwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. And this is, I'm going to do it right this time, Lord willing. I just uploaded a lesson called Esau's Lies, No Surprise. And that was originally going to be this lesson. I started off as and this is another edition of what does it really mean, dealing with the word profane, okay? And the last lesson that I uploaded was supposed to be like that. It was supposed to be that topic, but I kind of got a little rambly, got a little sidetracked, and kind of got built into something else. Lord willing, it was still edifying. But I did actually want to get this done. I wanted to go and get this, what does it really mean out. So we're going to go through it, just a little quick one. This is leftover from last lesson. But yeah, so the word profane. And we ended up going off topic with Hebrews 12 and 16. All right, the one that comes to mind, at least for me, when I think of profane, is Hebrews 12 and 16, which is actually the last occurrence of it within the King James Bible. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. So, you know, we went on that and kind of ended up going on a tangent and talking about some things and getting some AI and talking about a documentary, you know, I watched a while ago, and how they lie about that and how they lie about paintings and all these different things, right, about their lies. So Esau's lies are no surprises. That's the lesson I put out. Dealing with a little rambly lesson. Lord willing, there's some edification still in there. But yeah, man, so profane. So last lesson was good because, you know, it's like it's like warming the engine up. All right, so we're already ready and hot to go, as they say. Sabrina Carpenter. Is it her? Yeah, I think it's her. But yeah, profane. So the word profane occurs 33 times throughout 33 different verses. Okay, in the King James Version. And the first occurrence of that said word, profane, is within Leviticus 18, okay, in verse 21. And that reads, "And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Lord." And this was another topic to ramble with, the modern day Molech sacrifice, going back to Planned Parenthood. And then once we got onto Planned Parenthood, we got into Margaret Sanger and Margaret Sanger's racism, and then we got into the Edomites because she's an Edomite, and then, you know, it kind of went from there. But yeah, so thou shalt not let any of thy seed, that's your children, pass through the fire to Molech. All right, that's a strange god. All right, one that we did not know nor worshipped. All right, originally. It says, "Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Lord." Of course, Jake went off, and, you know, you had Manasseh and I believe it was it Manasseh and Ephraim? What kings sacrificed their children to Molech? Let me say, kings of Judah and Manasseh. Okay, so Ahaz and Manasseh. So yeah, it's like I said, Ephraim, I believe it. No, Manasseh and Ahaz. And then of course, you know, a Moabite. But yeah, worried about the Jakes. We're worried about the Jakes. So yeah, so neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Lord. Okay, and as I got it in the last one, where we are, I'll get it over here as well. We'll just use the, we'll use the good news. We haven't used it in a while, so let's get Leviticus 18. Verse? Oh, excuse me. And again, like it says, forbidden sexual practices. Up here it says laws on immoral relations. So you'll see not having sex with your mother, not having sex with your sister's sister. All right, not looking at the nakedness of your father's wife's daughter. That's your stepsister. Which you would think, oh, without the scripture, you'd think, oh, well, they're not related to me. Yeah, but it's your father's wife's daughter, and that's just going to be confusing, man. You're basically viewed as siblings. You're not blood siblings. You're not really kin, but it's close enough that it's a little strange. All right, so you're not supposed to do it. So verse 21 is where we're going here. And the Good News Translation, okay, same verse, all right, Leviticus 18 and 21, reads, "Do not hand over any of your children to be used in the worship of the god, false god, Molech, because that would bring disgrace on the name of Yahweh, the Lord." There you go. And then the one that people hate of all is, of course, verse 22. You know, that's not what that means. That's not what that means. Sure. It literally says laws on immoral relations. What do you think else it could be talking about? But anyway, let's go on to the word profane here. Neither shall thou profane the name of thy power. All right, so neither shall thou profane. What does that word goes back to? What does that word go back to? Excuse me. It goes back to Strong's H24 and 90. Strong's H24 and 90. We're going to hear it pronounced.
Strong's H2490. Halal. Halal.
All right, halal, not to be confused with halal. All right, which means praise. All right. So halal, all right, which means to profane, to defile, pollute, desecrate. Okay, to profane oneself, defile oneself, to pollute oneself ritually or sexually. All right, by doing any of the things listed in this Leviticus 18. All right, or ritually by worshiping a false god. That would be profaning yourself, and also you would be profaning the name of the Lord. What else? To profane. All right, it can mean to play a flute. All right, or to wound, bore through, pierce. All right, but most of the time it's going to deal with profane if it's not dealing with the word begin. All right, profane, defile, pollute. Okay, so. And as we'll keep up Johnson's over here, and we'll have it locked and loaded and ready to go. We're not going to click enter just yet because we want to get a couple more. But so profane, again, so it means to defile, pollute. So let's get Johnson's dictionary. We're not going to get profane just yet, but we are going to get the word defile. What does it mean to defile? Okay, defile means a line of soldiers. No. Okay, we need the verb, I believe, or yeah. So to make foul or impure, to make nasty or filthy, to dirty. Okay, to pollute, to make legally or ritually impure, to corrupt chastity, to violate. Okay, to taint, to corrupt. All right, so no one is tainted as corrupt. Okay, so really taint, corrupt. Or filthy. So let's go and look up taint. Okay. Infection, corruption, deprivation. All right. What is deprivation? Okay. The act of making anything bad, the act of corrupting. Okay. So corrupt. What does corrupt mean? Corrupt, spoiled, tainted. Okay. Unsound, putrid. Tainted with wickedness and without integrity. That's the big heavy hitter right there. I'm gonna leave that up. And then where were we? Integrity. Okay, honesty, uncorrupt mind, purity of manners, uncorruptness. All right, mind you, Job kept his integrity, and his wife did not like that. All right, roughly paraphrasing. Why keep thou integrity? Curse at the Most High, and curse the Most High and die. All right, that's what she said. All right, and of course, to which he responded, you know, you speak like one of the foolish women. All right, or we are only to receive good and not bad. All right, so yeah, so it shows you that Jake, all right, in their righteous state, all right, how they should be, are in a, you know, purity, all right, uncorrupt. They're not corrupt. They're not giving into corruption, all right. They're honest, all right. They don't have a corrupt mind or doing corrupt shit, all right. They're not doing that, okay. Unadulterate state, so unadulterated, okay. What does it mean? What does unadulterated mean? Unadulterated. Okay, not mixed or diluted with different elements. Complete and absolute. Okay, unpolluted. Okay, virgin. All right, virgin. So, and that's another case, you know, because a lot of people think, oh, the 144 dealing with virgins are actually never I've never had, any dealings with a woman at all. All right. No, that's not what it's talking about. All right. Oops. Slovakia. There's going to be 144 that are most definitely had sexual relations with women. So unadulterated, genuine, not spoiled by spurious mixtures. Now, what does spurious mean, though? Ungenuine, not genuine, counterfeit. Okay, not legitimate. So again, spurious, all right, or unadulterated means not spoiled by spurious mixtures, not spoiled by things that we had no dealings with originally. Okay, so in term wickedness. Okay, wickedness and just corruption. All right, corruption again, or corrupt means tainted with wickedness and without integrity. You have no integrity. All right, you're impure, you're immoral, you're corrupt. You'll do anything. Right? You have no morals. Okay, you have no baseline. You're just vile and godless. Okay, and that's really what profane means at the end of the day is godless. Okay, now we can go over and look up profane. All right, and see what it means. Profane. Irreverent to sacred names or things, not sacred, secular. So you're not sacred, you're not holy. All right, holy means separate. You're instead of being separate, you're secular, which means what? Attitudes, activities, or entities that have no religious basis or connection, focusing instead on temporal or the worldly sphere. So worldly, okay? Worldly, okay? Not holy, but worldly. So worldly, without integrity, wicked, godless, okay? Not purified by holy rites, so godless. Godless. Okay, so we'll keep these up. What else? So, next one. Excuse me. This is Ezekiel 44 and 23. It says, "And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane." Again, showing you not sacred, secular. So it's the opposite of holy, and holy goes back to the word Quadash. We got to look up the word Kadosh because that's how the Jewish people say it. It means holy, sacred, or set apart, and that's literally what it means. It's the words correctly pronounced Quadash in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, and it means set apart, holy, set apart. Okay, so it says, "And they shall teach my people the difference between the set apart, the holy, and the profane, the secular, the worldly." All right, the set apart and the not set apart, the worldly, all right, and the spiritual. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, context clues, or context cues, as some say. Either way, right? "And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane, and cause them to discern between the unclean and clean." So holy, profane, clean, unclean. So, or unclean, clean, holy, profane, right? Two different separate sides. Okay, two different things. So the difference between the holy, there's that word. Boom. They say Kodesh, it's Quadash, and it means, again, apartness, set apart. Okay, it literally means set apart. Set apartness. Okay, set apart. And the profane. And here, we're going to get the word, we're going to get H24 and 55.
Strong's H 2455. Whole.
Which means profaneness, commonness. Common. Okay, unholy, which would mean not set apart. Common man. All right, the worldly, the ones that are not set apart. They're not holy. They're not doing what is righteous and good. They're doing which is, wicked and wrong. Okay, so they're common. That's the commonplace. The common man. All right, they're, secular. Secularity, all right, being involved in the world. They're common. They're not set apart, all right. They're just worldly. And it goes back to the root word that we've already got, which goes back to another root word, which means to, look at this. This is kalal, or kal-law, not kalal, or kal, or not halal, all right. This is kal-law, all right, because the other one was kalal, all right, which can sound like halal if you don't have the K. And this one is kal-law, all right, which is not to be confused with kal-halal, right? So kal-law means to become weak, become sick, or become diseased, become grieved, or become sorry, which is great because that's really what these people are, which is a primitive root of hal, which means to twist, all right, And Kala or Kala, of course, same word. And of course, profane, defile, pollute, desecrate. Okay, which was the first one that we got. So it goes back to those root words, but really it means common. So secular. If you really want to get back to it, it means secular. All right, worldly. Okay, worldly and not aligned with Yahweh's purpose. Okay, that's what it is. So Hebrews 12 and 16. Of course, this is the final one that we got. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Of course, it means don't let anybody ever become like Esau, all right? Because he's the wicked of wicked. He's the wicked of the wicked, okay? And the word here goes back to meaning profane, unhallowed, okay? Ungodly, heathenish, all right? He's the most heathenistic of the heathens, all right? And that's, and the Lord also said, I shall set you low among the heathen, okay? They're the lowest among the heathen. Okay, they're the lowest. They're the ones with a special name, the wicked. All right, the wicked, the border of wickedness. All right, so, you know, and we want to be chosen. We want to be chosen. Well, you were chosen in a way, Esau. You were chosen to be the wicked, the most wicked bastard that ever exists. All right, that's your lot. That's your portion. Right. So going back, using all these together, what does it mean to be profane? You know, worldly. All right, not aligning with Yahweh's purpose, not according to scripture, not according to law, not according to what Yahweh Bashem Yahushai would want. You're irreverent to sacred things. All right, and irreverent means what? Lack of expected respect. You're disrespect. All right, you're disrespected. All right, it says respect. Irreverent is the lack of expected respect or veneration towards holy traditions and people. So you're unholy, you don't care about anything that's holy, you hate the Lord, all right, you hate the Israelites, you hate everything, you love the world, you're polluted, you like fucking animals and fucking little kids and doing nasty shit, you're not purified, you're disgusting, you're a disgrace, you're tainted with your wickedness, and you lack integrity, okay? That's what it means to be profane, okay? And no one is as profane as Esau, okay? No one is as profane as Esau. Jake sure fucking tries, all right, but Esau... Man, the way that their mind works is just the most corrupt and just vile, disgusting fucking trenches that you could ever put yourself in. All right? If you want to do sick shit, hang around Esau for a while. All right? They'll, hey, you know what we should do? When Brad falls asleep, we should put a dildo up his ass. Wouldn't that be funny? You know, or, you know, there was this joke that some comedian told about, what do they call it, like a soggy cookie or something. Apparently guys will take turns, you know, coming on a cookie, and then one of them will have to eat it. If you want to do some nasty shit, hang around Esau, because they get a kick out of that shit. All right, you won't catch me hanging around no fucking Edomite. Fuck that. All right, hell no. All right, these guys be sucking each other's dicks and calling it a fun game. It's just like musical chairs, right? Whoever can't run downstairs and back upstairs again has to give the other one a blowjob. You're so gay, dude. I'm not gay though, but you are. Fuck that, dude. You guys are fucking crazy, man. They're weird, weirdo behavior. Okay, that's because they're profane. Esau is profane, and no one is as profane as them. The Lord warns you to not become like them. Okay. So learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. All right, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Learn. Let's go and close out with that. This is all heathens, but specifically Esau too, because he's the man. He'd have you leading to going the worst. Okay, and we're just dealing with verse 2. Verse talking about something very familiar. All right, as a holiday. Like Christmas, right? So Jeremiah 10:2, it says, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Don't be like them. Don't learn their ways. Don't go near them. Don't go around them. Stay the fuck away from them, right? If you work with them, that's one thing, but you start hanging around with them, they're gonna start making weird jokes and doing weird shit and behaving weirdly, and no, just don't do it. That's what we're going to close out with. Lord, what was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Yahweh, Shimi Hawashai, Shimmer Kakwadash. Shalom, you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.